And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Tuesday morning's flying weather graphic showing considerable IFR here for the Bering Sea, the Aleutians right up into the southwest interior, including Bristol Bay, southwest Kodiak Island. IFR northward here across the Bering Strait, St. Lawrence Island, at least eastern St. Lawrence Island, western Seward Peninsula, on up to the northwest coast. IFR forecast for the Brooks Range all the way out to the Arctic Ocean. And a lot of IFR here right along the Yukon River southward through the Tanana Valley into the North Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Alaska, and the Panhandle. And then that improves here for the afternoon, kind of marginal VFR extending from Dillingham, Togiak, northeastward across the Alaska Range. All of south central Alaska, Copper River Basin there, marginal VFR for the afternoon. Some IFR possible there around Resurrection Bay, otherwise Kodiak marginal for the Panhandle. VFR here in the central and western interior, and marginal VFR over the northern Bering Sea, and some areas of IFR, especially over the southern and southeast Bering into the areas from Adak westward into the Alaska Peninsula. And then back to solid IFR here for the Bering Sea and the Aleutians for Wednesday morning. And again, that extends in across the southwest coast area here, mostly the Kuskokwim Delta, maybe into the southern Kuskokwim Valley, along the Alaska Range area there, IFR for Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast, and IFR again from the Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast, and marginal VFR, some IFR for the Panhandle. And then for the afternoon, left with a marginal VFR to IFR pattern here, Lynn Canal westward in toward Prince William Sound, eastern Kenai Peninsula. A little more in the way of VFR as you go down toward Dixon Entrance there in the Panhandle. Mostly VFR with some areas of marginal VFR for the interior, all the way up to the Arctic coast. And out over the Bering Sea, IFR central, or the central Bering Sea and the Aleutians continues. And that again a little bit extending up toward Togiak Bay there and possibly Dillingham, otherwise not too bad. And for the passes, Anatuvik IFR to start, becoming marginal VFR in the afternoon, and same forecast for Adigan. Western Alaska Range, Lake Clark and Merrill, as well as rainy, windy, and Isabel for the entire Alaska Range. Pretty marginal day coming up flying-wise tomorrow there, with the lower conditions in the morning hours, and again improving as we saw in the graphics there for the afternoon. And for Tanita, occasional marginal VFR, and Portage IFR in the morning, marginal VFR later in the day. Same trend for Chilkoot and White, starting out IFR, becoming marginal. Freezing levels here, again, colder air coming in from the Arctic here, pushing 8,000 feet south of the Brooks Range into the northern interior valleys, 2,000 feet here for the freezing level along the north slope, and 4,000 feet here over the northern Panhandle, southeastern Copper River Basin, with some cooler air aloft there. Otherwise, kind of a slack gradient out here, temperature-wise, 10,000 feet down toward the Aleutians there, and then a little bit lower out to the west. And from there, looking at icing, could be a little bit of isolated moderate rime icing here, a narrow band there, western Alaska Peninsula toward the eastern Aleutians, nothing really significant at all. A better area of rime icing there for the southeast coast, and then possible areas of mixed icing here for the Talkeetna Mountains up toward the Alaska Range, as well as the northeast interior, all the way out to the eastern Arctic coast, especially in and around the eastern Brooks Range and North Slope. And for the jet stream here, upper level low dropping into the Arctic coast there, central Arctic coast, bringing the colder air with it, and westerly flow to the south of that, anywhere from 65 to 70 knots. Higher pressure, lighter winds here over southern Alaska into the Bering Sea. And again, 33,000 feet, we're looking at northeasterlies at about 60 knots there across the Wrangell Mountains. And then coming around back in with the strongest winds here into British Columbia with the low center there over the Panhandle. And out west, another low center there just south of the east central Aleutians, keeping the stronger jet down to the south. And for 9,000 feet, that low at this elevation, a little farther to the north, a little bit more wind also with it. Easterlies 35 to 45 knots there across the southern Bering Sea. Westerlies, light westerlies in the interior. And for the southeast coast, Gulf of Alaska, pretty light winds with the stronger winds again over in Canada. And for 3,000 feet, pretty light winds over much of the forecast area. We do have a band of northeasterlies or north-northeasterlies from the northwest coast through the Bering Strait at about 30 knots, and southeast 35 knots here for the Alaska Peninsula, Falls Pass area, coming around to northeast at 35 for Adak and Atka. And turbulence-wise, look for considerable moderate turbulence here for the Alaska Peninsula out to just east of Atka Island, St. Lawrence Island, western Seward Peninsula up to the northwest coast. With the north coast of the Panhandle could get a little bumpy there with some isolated moderate turbulence at times in that area.